Okay, welcome back to the Success Framework. In the previous video, you would have gone through the introduction, and now we're just going to jump straight into progressing your elements of the Success Framework. And like I mentioned, the focus of what we're about to do is dive into values. Before we get there, I just want to share why the hell do I do this? So, as far as my direction, I'm here to help businesses, entrepreneurs, and driven individuals find out who they are, what they're here to do, and how to get there. As you go through the success framework, you'll realize why I state that the way I state it. And there's no ambiguity in my mind. That's the direction I'm heading. That's why I'm here. Now, if you want to find fulfillment in the work you're doing, the company you've created, if you want to understand who you are, what you're here to do, and how to get there, transition from the current role that you're doing, if you're an employee, or as a founder, the current role you're doing, which is every role. If you want to discover or rediscover your passions and get really clear on your goals so you can help grow your business, then this is for you. How we progress the success framework is we conduct activities, we do reflection work, and we take action. These are the key elements that make the success framework work. If you don't do the action, you don't go anywhere. If you don't spend time reflecting, well, you don't know where you're going. The activities themselves are how you get to the detail. And so that's what we're going to do. You've seen this, you get it. We start at the top right, analysis down to strategy, planning, and operating like a clock face. Another way of saying it is the why, what, how, and what else of your business. Everything that we're going to cover from values, purpose, vision, legacy, they're the first 4 videos. Then we get into the rest. I've said it. Today we're going to do values. The reason why we do values is they underpin who you are at your core. And so we do this not like what you've seen for every other business. I shouldn't judge because I know it's not every other business because I've worked with a few. The majority of businesses create a list of aspirations. They aren't the core values of the beast that's been created. If I assume the majority of you watching this are founders and business leaders that have created something successful, my belief is, and I feel like there's enough evidence to prove this, is it was built on the foundational values within the individuals you were able to attract. And so by using our values as the foundation for our business, we can onboard people much more easily. It makes it easy to hire, it makes it easy to fire, it makes it easy to build an amazing culture and gives you an infinite amount of video content or inspiration for video content to feed your marketing machine. And so we do values to understand who people are at their core, identify what's most important to them, and find out what would cause you to quit or leave your career, your industry, or the company that you're with. We do this in a very specific way so that we avoid creating a pick list of aspirations. There is a difference between the values I find on the majority of websites. It's what people think they should say. It's not what people are. So my method is about focusing on who you are, not who we've said we'd aspire to be. Focus on who the whole team is. What is the consistent core values between everyone? And so what do I mean by core values? Dr. Maurice Massey was a sociologist, and if we're to believe, I said doctor, I can't remember if he's a doctor. I'm pretty casual. I capture information, I research it and read it until I understand it. And if I understand it and I believe it and the evidence suggests it's right, I delete it all and I forget it. I can't remember whether he's a doctor. The point is, in his research and work, he identified 3 key stages of a human. 0 to 7 is what's called the imprint period. And so this is where you basically accept all the information that's coming in. Your values, beliefs, behaviors, identity is formed here. You accept it all. You see it from your family, you see it from school, you see it from religion if you're involved in religion. You're taking everything in. The modeling period, ages 8 to 13, in a person's mind, once they go past 7, they get what's called a critical faculty. And that's like a shield that goes around everything they learnt from 0 to 7. And if something matches what they learnt in 0 to 7, they take it on and they believe it. And that's what forms up their identity. And so they're looking for information that aligns to what they've been given. The modeling period is where we start modeling the people around us, the rituals, routines, and behaviors that they have. And then socialization is where we go about looking at how we interact with the world as a whole. And in these periods of our life, this is where we're creating our identity, how we show up, and how we exist in the world. The key part is the 0 to 7 piece. A pick list I keep ragging on is not accessing the core values formed between 0 to 7, which is what we're going to do. Maybe. Let's see if you want to. The Dunedin study. This is one of the largest longitudinal studies that have been underway since 1972, where 2 psychologists were following 1,000 New Zealanders, and what they've done in this research in connecting with people, like just search Dunedin study, go have a look at the stats, go have a look at the content. Key point is they identified 1 of 5 personality types that exist between the ages of 0 to 4. And so they were well-adjusted, confident, reserved, under-controlled, and inhibited. So there's a lot you can infer from the detail of these, and I'd suggest some additional research. I'm not here to sell you on their research and the outcome. What I'm bringing our attention to is that between 0 to 7, imprint period, 0 to 4, we lock in 1 of 5 personality traits. My point is, very early on, we form our values. And so if we're to believe the Dunedin study, if we're to believe Morris Massey, by the age of 7, you've pretty well locked in who you are. By the age of 21, you have formed your identity around who that is. And with that in mind, there are certain themes that might have come out of the different places we collected our values. You know, Norse mythology talks a lot about courage, truth, honor, fidelity, discipline. Bushido, maybe you grew up in Japan, integrity, respect, heroic courage, honor. Stoicism is very popular at the moment, and the core virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, temperance, justice, courage. Maybe you grew up around Buddhism, morality, effort, wisdom, truthfulness, tolerance, equanimity. Christianity, prudence, justice, restraint or temperance, courage or fortitude. And so you can see that very easily who we're around, what we're around, forms part of our identity. Now, a business that says heroic courage is a core value, that's an aspiration until we know who within the company actually values that. There's no point in stating it if it's not in anyone's values. Aspirations are amazing, and I am going to advocate for aspirations, but only once you've identified your core values. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. So let's have a look. Not now, but in a moment, what you'll do is we'll go through and we're going to ask some questions. There is going to be some repetition in this process. The repetition is key because it helps you get to those unconscious core values. And so because we're doing this online, you need to know that just the statement, oh yeah, I've done this. No, don't accept it. Oh, but I did it at my other job with a coach. No, stop. Oh, but I know what my values are. It's this, this, and this. No, this is what other people will do when they do it remotely. Totally fine. It's not fine. I get really frustrated because it only limits yourself. What people do is they write down what just comes to mind. And that's just their unconscious, their conscious, straight up thoughts. And what you might hear is my dog, Luna, she does not agree with that approach. What you need to do is write your first list, might be 3 things, 10 things. Then you go through and you ask the same question again and you write more. And then you ask the same question again and you write more. And if you don't keep writing more, the dog will bark at you. Hey, Luna, you're on this video. Do you really want to be involved or can you be quiet? She can't be quiet. We'll work through it. So my point is, you have to write. Because we're not face to face, I can't sit there with you and help elicit this from you. So it means you need to apply some discipline, repetition, and free writing. It's one of the hardest pieces. Like there's some work we do in the personal development space past becoming OP, and the writing piece is the hardest piece. So I just need you to trust the process, do a lot of writing, and just keep going. Even if you have to repeat stuff, it is in the repetition we're going to get slowly and closer to your core values. So that's a pre-frame. In a sec, you can go to your workbook, and if we go here, so values, context, and here's the workbook that you'll use. It'll make sense as we start getting into the activity. So what you're going to do is you're going to set a timer on your phone for, let's say, 4 minutes. And once you've set a timer on 4 minutes in that first big box, I want you to write down the answer to this question, which is what is important to me in the context of my career. So pause this video, write down everything that comes to mind for 4 minutes. And then when you come back, we're going to keep going. And this is the piece where I need your discipline and consistency and courage to just go. It'll feel awkward. It'll feel weird. We're going to repeat it. So pause the video, come back in 4 minutes. And welcome back. Now what I want you to do is review that list, read through everything that's there, and answer the question, what's important to me in the context of business? And you'll do this for another 4 minutes. And I want you to write down everything that comes to mind that's important to you in the context of business. Set your alarm for 4 minutes. Write. I know that there's some of you that are sitting there and literally saying, yep, I've got my list, I'm done. You're not done. Do the work, pause the video, 4 minutes, read everything, write. Pause now, come back. Okay. Now what you should have list is a bit of a longer list and heaps of repetition. That is fine. Don't worry about the repetition. It's an important part of the process. Now what I want you to do is we'll slightly tweak it. So the question is, if you had all of those things present in your career, what's missing? What else is important to you in the context of your business, your career, your life? What's important to you in the context of all of it? Pause the video, 4 minutes, let's go. Okay, so we can take a bit of a different angle now. I'll walk you through this process. I'll give you the why and the sort of the what, and then I'll do the facilitation. So this way you'll have context and then you can go through it. So what this is about is accessing your memories and reviewing your memories and looking for some emotions, feelings, and thoughts. So what I want you to do is, not yet, but in a moment, I'll teach you first, is I'm going to say, remember a specific incident where you were totally motivated in the context of your career, I might say your business. Yeah, I might say work. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is you can leave your eyes or closed, but I might say, close your eyes and go back to that time in your mind. Step into your body, see what you saw at the time, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of being totally motivated in that moment. And then, like a movie, just rewind it a little bit and notice the feeling or emotion that was present just prior to you feeling totally motivated in the context of your career. So the whole point is you're going to go back to a memory. You're going to see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt in that moment. And you're going to observe in yourself the feelings and sensations. It might be literal pictures in your mind. It could be a feeling. It could be you telling yourself to go there. The key point is you need to look through your own eyes. Don't look at yourself, look through your own eyes. So change your perspective. And so hopefully that's enough to help you go through this activity. So I'm happy to do the elicitation piece now, and then you pause it, or you can just repeat it over and over again, however best works for you. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to remember a time in your entire career. It doesn't have to be your current job, your current company, the current role you're in, any time in your career. And I want you to remember a specific incident or moment where you were totally motivated in the context of your career, your job, the work you were doing. And as you close your eyes now and go back to that time in your mind, I want you to step into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt as you were totally motivated in that context. And then rewind the video a little bit and notice what are the feelings or emotions that are present just prior to feeling how you were feeling. And as soon as you have the names of those feelings and emotions, I want you to pause the video and I want you to start writing for 2-3 minutes. Write down everything you felt. So pause the video and come back. Now that you're back, I'm not going to suggest that I'm not going to repeat the recording of this. You don't need another 3 minutes of this recording. What I want you to do is I want you to pause the video, go back and start that process again. I want you to repeat it 3 times, 3 separate memories. And I want you to collect all the different extra feelings and emotions. So take, 3, 6, 9 minutes. Take 9 minutes, repeat the process 3 times. And once you've repeated it, you should have a whole detailed list of thoughts and feelings and emotions. Pause the video, come back, and we'll do the next piece. Okay. I want you to review your list of feelings or emotions. And as you review that list, all you're doing is identifying anything you think is important to you, you think is a core value that belongs in your values list. And take any of those thoughts or feelings that represent a core value to you and add them to your values list. The question you might ask yourself is this value important to me in the context of my career? If the answer is yes, add it to your values list. If no, repeat the process a couple of times. And then what you should be left with is hopefully 3 or 4 groupings of values, a bunch of repeated words, a bunch of different words. Maybe there's a few little statements or sentences, that's all fine. And what these represent is the first part of the process. We are not complete yet. What you're going to do is we're going to take a break from that. And in taking a break, sorry, I'm a human, I'm getting comfortable. And I'm aware how silly that looks on video, but I don't care. It's what just happened. All right. So we now have our list, and we're now going to deep dive on what would break your values. And so I'm just going to pause here. This piece is super valuable for founders and business leaders. And so later on, when I talk about the living values process, you'll get it. This piece becomes infinitely usable and becomes your barometer of where people are at. Do they want to be in the business? Are they, jack of it? Are we creating an environment that would cause people to leave or quit? That's what this will give you. Now, I also appreciate that this might be a bit challenging for the founders, the literal founders. If you're an MD or a CEO that's been brought in, this will be a little easier. If you're an employee or a contractor or some sort of temp, easier again. So I appreciate the challenge that this is for founders. I say that because many of the founders I know, the option is success or death. And yes, I mean that almost literally. I don't know what the world will do with that statement in 2024 and, what we're not meant to talk about. But honest to God, like, there are people I know, men and women, that the work they're doing matters so much that they will do it forever. There is no way they'll stop. So if you're one of those people, do as best you can with this activity. For everyone else, do as best as you can with this activity. And so the question you're going to ask yourself for this piece of the puzzle is, if every single thing on the list you've created was present in your career, in your business, is there anything that would have to happen that would cause you to quit, leave, or change industries? And so in a moment, I'll get you to pause the video, set your alarm for 3 minutes. You might need 7. And I want you to answer that question. If first things first, read your entire list and then ask the question, if all of these values were present in my career, is there anything that would have to happen that would cause you to quit or leave or change industries? So pause the video, do your 3 to 7 minutes, and then come back and we'll progress and ask the next question. Okay, so you should have a list, maybe a bit shorter than some of the others, of 1 to 7, 7 to 21 different things that would have to happen that would cause you to quit or leave. What I want you to do as you think about those things is identify if there's any new values in there important to you in the context of your career. It might not be a statement. So let me give you an example. Something that might cause me to quit or leave a client is outright money manipulation, fraud, and the prioritization of money over everything, over people, over, relationships, over doing the right thing. And so one could say, well, what's the opposite of that? Operating ethically. Is ethically important to me in the context of my career? Yes. That's how I add that value to my list. So pause the video, have a look through your threshold values and see if there's anything that represents a new value that needs to be included. So pause, come back. All right. That should give you 2 things, some extra values to add to your values list, and it should give you your threshold values. What I want you to look at with your threshold values now and list out is, what is the actual one thing that, if it happened, would cause you to quit or leave? That's going to be your core threshold value. So you might have something on there like, I talked about prioritizing money, lying. What's another example? It could be money, prioritizing money over people, operating unethically, causing damage to the environment, inequality. Could be a range of things. But of all those things, what's the one thing that would, if it happened today, you would quit on the spot. Identify that thing. That's your core threshold value. Okay, pause, do that, come back, next piece. I don't think you need this. Now that we've gone through everything we've gone through up until this moment, I'm almost entirely confident we don't need this piece, but I am thorough and I am giving you everything. I have the power of video, so you might as well do it if you want to be complete and thorough. So super easy activity. You read through your whole list and ask yourself the question, now, if all these values were present and threshold values occurred, is there anything else that would have to happen that would cause you to stay or continue in this career? So, for example, something unethical is done and it breaks your core threshold value of ethics. Is there anything that that company, the people around you, the business could do to solve that? And so if the answer is yes, whatever that thing is, that's also important to you, you could add that to your values. So, I mean, you can pause it if you want to. You can go through the process. Useful activity for identifying those extra strong values that matter to you. All right. Next thing. Identify your top 10 core values based on how they are now, not on what you wish they would be. Sorry, I read that. I didn't need to read that, and that was a bit awkward. Top 10 values, super easy process. Consider your entire career. Yes, consider your career right now. Ask the question, in light of the results I've been getting in my career and or in the company right now, which of these values is the most important to me? This is what we're going to be doing. So let me break it down. There's a couple of ways we can go about this. The question is right. And yes, you can follow this just to get your top 10. Here's another way of doing it. So let's say you've got maybe 3 sets of lists. Maybe there's 4 listed out words. What I like to do, I'm hoping that there's more than 1, 3, 4, 7, 12. It's got to be more than 12. Hopefully there's more than 21. So you have 15 stars, asterisks. I want you to, right now, go through that list and put 15 asterisks next to each value that is most important. You only have 15 asterisks though. So pause the video for 60 seconds. You have to put 15 asterisks next to the values that have to be present, the core values that you can't live without. Pause the video, 60 seconds, 15 asterisks. Roast me in the comments about how I said that. I have no idea. Pause the video, 15, go. Now that you're back, you've got your condensed list of 15 core values. Now what I want you to do is circle 10 of those core values. And so the premise is they're the 10 core values that have to be there. All the others could not be present, and these 10 core values are resulting in the best company, the best career, the best working life you could ever want. So pause the video, circle 10 now, then come back. Okay? So now that you have 10 circled, what I'm going to give you is 7 core values. What you need to do with those 7 core values is look at your list of 10 and rewrite 7 core values on your worksheet or your notebook or notepad. Those 7 core values are the things that have to be present, and if they are present, would result in the greatest company, the greatest career, working with the greatest types of people, all those good things. And then once you've identified your 7, come back, take 3 to 7 minutes, maybe 60 seconds, whatever you need, and we'll do the next piece. Okay. Pause, come back. Now that you're back, you've got your list of 7. This is optional. I don't find this is an important piece anymore, but you can order these. So this is where the question on the screen comes into play. In light of the results I've been getting in my career and or the company right now, which of these values is most important? Read through your 7, put the most important one first. Then ask the question, which is next, which is next, which is next? That gives you your core 7 values in order and sequence. And then what you're left with is something like this for you as an individual founder, manager, MD, leader, your core values. Now, these are mine: authenticity, pragmatism, courage, family, fortitude, principled, learning, and honesty. These are the core things that need to be present in my business and the clients I work with. When I don't see these things, that's when I lose the connection with that work and those people. Not now, but later on, I'm going to teach you guys about the living values process. And I'm also going to, for some people that work with me face-to-face or on the sort of bigger programs we run, I'm going to show you how to align these core values across your business. And so if you are a founder and you're still responsible wholly and solely for the direction, a leader, and you not rule with an iron fist, but you know, you're a charismatic leader that just sets the direction and the team follows, you can set these as your company values as they are right now. But realistically, to get the best possible outcome, what you should actually do is have everyone in your leadership team go through this process. And then the next piece is everyone does it individually, and you bring them back together and you identify from your top 15 or top 10, you identify whose values are aligned, like how aligned your values are, and identifying the themes. Look, honestly, this is where we're at right now, is targeted as you as the individual. Maybe I'll set up another thing, a living values event or a living values recording. We'll see. Either way, you now have your core values. This is going to feed the next activity we do, which is defining your purpose. And so I'm going to pause your progress into the success framework right now. Hopefully what you've got is your core values. I know you should have it. If you followed the instructions, you will. And we can jump into the next thing. So thank you so much for starting your journey on the success framework and doing that by developing your values. Rock and roll. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. And yeah, see you soon.